Okay? Any question? You can practice this. Okay, so let's do this. We may not be able to complete it today, but this is another important topic. A logical kind of thing after this buffer overflow, we will do what is called a stack overflow. Okay. So again, this you should have seen this picture somewhere before in the operating systems module, where I showed you what are the 5 components of a program and how they are stored in memory. Okay. So this is, you should have seen this in operating systems course also. So low to, again, memory increases linearly, low to high. So these are the 5 different components of a program: the test segment, initial data segment, uninitial data segment. But what we are more interested in is the heap and the stack, especially stack. Okay, and environment variable. Okay, so let's now go through a C program a little bit. So a C program, here you have a main function with int x equals 2, and you call a function a of x. And a of x is declared here. It takes x as a parameter int y, and inside a you have int z equals some 5, and then inside a you call b and pass that z as a argument. And you have a function b that takes int w as a parameter, and inside it you have int u equals 3. So this is the sequence of function calls where you have main calling a calling b. Okay, so in an architecture course you would have seen, or in operating systems, how things are loaded up onto a stack, right? So stack grows always from high to low, right? Because you see the picture over there. Stack always goes like this. So this is the dynamic portion of memory available to your program, right? So if you create more memory objects in runtime, all those arrays and all the vector and all those things, the heap gets used. If you keep calling your functions and keep adding them, the stack grows. Okay? So the stack grows from high end to low memory. Now we should know in what order things are piled up on the stack. Okay? So when you call a from main, why we need to store things on a stack? Because if you look at this main function, somewhere down the road we call a, right? And we still have some more code in the main function to execute, right? So when we are done with this function a, you have to come back and complete executing the remaining main function, right? So you may have some variables like x already declared in main. So when you go and execute a and come back to main after finishing a, you have to remember what was the value of x and what were the values of the previous other variables in the main function. So that's called the state information about a function. So you want to remember the state information of a function when you come back and you want to execute that function, right? So similarly, when you call a and you're executing a, somewhere in the middle you're calling b. So you go and execute b, but still after you come back and return to a, you still have something left in a to execute. So you want to remember from where you want to start. Like you are doing something and you leave that work in the middle and go and do something else, right? You want to come back and resume that previous work, you have to know what you are doing before so that you can get continued, right? So you have to store, of course you can remember in your mind that is the stack, what you are doing on the previous work. Right? So like that in the program, if you call one function and execute another function and you come back to the previous function, you have to know the state information about the function. And that's what you store in the stack. Right? So we store these 3 things mainly. Of course, if you see take an architecture course, you will see more details about frame pointer and all the stuff. But for us, these 3 are sufficient enough to be considered. So for every function, you store the local values of the local variables, the return address. So this is the most important thing, because for example here, once you call a, you go and execute a, right? So after you're done with a, you need to know where you need to return the control to. Remember, all these things are stored in memory. This is your program segments. This is function b, function a, and all those things. They are stored where? they are stored here. Remember, the text segment contains all the executable code, right? So all your functions and main function, everything is stored here. Somewhere, remember, we saw segmentation and all those things, so they are not stored continuously. So function A could be somewhere, function B could be somewhere, main could be somewhere. So after you're done with one function, you need to know where to return, which memory address to return, so that you can resume the execution of the other function. Okay? So the return address is actually the memory address where you need to return to, so that the remaining part of the code can be executed. So for the main, after you execute, because the main function gets called from an operating system, so you have to return to the operating system, and then the parameters for main. So mainly the argc and argchar and all those things is for the C program. But now when you call A from main, right? You have to remember, you have to store this. So when you call main, when you call A from main, you push information about main on the stack and go and execute A, right? So now from A you call B, right? So now you have to file up information about A. So these are the information about A, the local variable Z. Now you see when you call main, when you call A from main, right, we have to know where you want to return after you are done with A. So this is the return address. After you are done with A, you want to come back to main and execute the remaining code. So this return address should be the value for return address in the stack for A. So this represents stack for A. So after you are done with A, you need to return to this address. And this address is actually part of the code for the main function. Okay. Similarly, when you call B from A, you push information about B on the stack, where you have the local variable U, and then after you done with B, you need to know where you need to return, and you return to where the last line after the next line after you call B in A. So in A, this is the address of the program, that line segment where you have after this function call B. So this is the memory return memory address, and this is of course a W is a local parameter, the parameter that you are calling B. Similarly, this Y is a parameter that you call for A. Right? So you should really understand how the stack is filtered. Right? So the local variables are first the return address, and then the parameter that you use to call that function. So once you are done with B, this stack of B is removed and the stack of A is exposed. So the processor works on A. Once you are done with A, return back to main. Remember, stack operates in what order? Last in, first out, right? So you push main, you push A, push B, but B is the first thing you work on, right? So you call main A, B, so finish B, then pop out B, and then execute A, pop out A, and then execute main and pop out. So last in, first out, right? So let's see, I think we are done with. We'll stop here, but go through this example. This is very important. So make sure you attend next class. It's a little difficult to understand, but it's quite easy once you get a hold of it.